Pray that all is well in your world. I hope you had a phenomenal week. Facebook, what up? IG, what up? TikTok, what up? YouTube, what up? Man, we are going to continue with the same spirit and same energy of last week. If you join Coach Class with Coach, the unit that we're on currently is about your relationship with you. And what I said last week, I'll say this week. There's not a relationship that's more important than your relationship with you apart from your relationship with God. Shout out to my brother from the same mother, Jamal White. Salute, salute. What's going on, champion? Thanks for joining. We missed you last week, but I know life happens and, could be busy, but it's all good, man. I got your back, your side, and your front, champion. All right, let's get into some quick announcements. All right, so again, I am promoting the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, Gallery that Tells Your Story. So just encouraging you guys to check out the content on the channel. And really, I'm not all about likes and subscriptions as much as I am about getting feedback. So that's what I really want. I really want feedback from you guys about the content that's on the channel. So check it out, the Gallery that Tells Your Story. And again, just to shed light on what the content is about, the uniqueness of the title, the Gallery that Tells Your Story. I initially envisioned interviewing, and I still will, interviewing artists of many facets. So I initially envisioned interviewing artists about their artwork, which tells a story. Um, so selective artwork. So what I do is I go around looking for art pieces. Or if I find an artist that's open to share their catalog, I look through the catalog and then I ask questions of the artist. Hey, what kind of story does this tell? Or from a musician standpoint, um, depending on the songs that the musicians are able to put together, the question becomes what story does this tell, right? Uh, Psalmists, dancers, authors who have written books. These are all people that I initially started to look for so I can interview based upon the stories that they tell. And what I do is, and we haven't gotten to that point yet. We do have shout out to my sister Linnell and my sister Missy, um, who are really dope authors. You will see an interview with those particular authors. Um, they wrote some really amazing books, and they tell a story in their own right. But ultimately, the page is about uh, how our stories or our collection of stories are consistent with some of the people in the Bible in biblical history. So we are able to connect the stories or your story to some stories in biblical history. So, in a nutshell, the page was originally designed for, and actually, I have two events on the page as well. Uh, the first event I wasn't that really happy about because the audio was a little muffled. The second event was really dope. Um, so we were highlighting the book. Shout out to my wife. Um, a part of Aiden's journey, the book "Forsaking All Others" was the book that we were highlighting, which tells a story about a couple who came together and they have faced a whole bunch of obstacles, and it's really about them coming together as a unit and forsaking all others, uh, which means, in essence, um, not being caught up in the drama outside of the marriage dynamic and focusing solely on God and relying on Him for deliverance, for protection, for wisdom, and things of that nature. So it was really dope. Then we had some musicians. Shout out to um, my brother Robert, who is a really dope guitarist. Sister Melanie Salute, really good violinist, and they told a story in their own rights with their music or with their musical instruments, for that matter. Yours truly did spoken word. Shout out to Illustrate. He did spoken word, and he also told a story by way of dance. So you have this vision of a plethora of art in various expressions, telling the story, which is all related to stories of biblical history. So the channel ties those entities together, if that makes sense. So check it out. Again, it'd be good to have a lot of subscriptions. It'd be good to have a lot of likes, but I'm not in it for that. I want to really know what you think about the material that is on the channel. So check it out. Give me some feedback. That would be much appreciated. All right. Also, books for sale. I started talking about it already, so I'll finish it off. We have Aiden's Journey, which is a part Christian fiction novel. The third part is still pending. Working on that now. But we have The Invisible Marriage and we have Forsaking All Others. And those books are now available on Amazon and Kindle. And we also have I Do, I Did, and It Didn't, which is also another Christian fiction novel, unrelated to Aiden's journey specifically, but it's a really dope project. I had an opportunity to partner up with Brother Rock, Anastasia, Taisha, and we had some fun with that. Pardon me. Then we have 50 Shades of She is available on Amazon, not available on Kindle, but it's available on Amazon. My wife's poetic novel depicting her experiences with domestic violence. Um, my wife is not just an awesome woman because she's my wife. She's awesome because through her trials and tribulations with domestic violence, she allowed the Lord to open up her eyes, to develop an exit strategy, and to remain steadfast on His foundation in truth. Um, so the light shined upon her, and she was able to escape, you know, that particular season of life. And she wrote it all in poetic form, and how it, uh, watching her mom experience domestic violence, to her being in a domestically volatile relationship, to her children. So we had three generations, y'all, three generations that were impacted by domestic violence in my wife's family. And yeah, so she put it all in poetic form, and it's really dope. It's called 50 Shades of She, so check that out. All right. Also, coach classes with Coach. If you are a client, if you would like to become a client, if you're a coach or you would like to become a coach, these classes are for you. So that's every Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm on live right now. We are streaming on Facebook, IG, YouTube, and I'm also live on TikTok. So, yeah, you want to be a part of that, just, reach out to me. Send me a DM or something. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about where you are. You know, if you've ever been coached, what you need in coaching, or if you want to earn a couple dollars or extra dollars in coaching, I'm your guy. So reach out. Let's see if we can make it happen. T-shirts for sale as well. We have the Gallery That Tells Your Story T-shirts. We have John 8:24, which is my favorite scripture. And we also have self-love over self-destruction. All right. And last but certainly not least, if you are a student of the Bible, join me on every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are walking verse by verse through the book of Hebrews, having a really good time in the scriptures. We are now in chapter 7, verses 1 through 3. We have been studying this for a year. It will be a year in November. So we're really taking our time walking through the scriptures, because the goal is to know what the word means by what it says. All right. Fair enough. That's the announcements. Let's go into the quote of the day. I'm going to share my screen. I think here we are right here. All right. Check this out. And it reads, self-awareness, the ability to clearly and objectively see yourself and everything that makes you who you are. Let me read that again. Self-awareness. That's the unit that we're on is about your relationship with you. Yes, you, the person in the mirror. I'm gonna coach you up a bit. And the sub unit is called self-awareness. The quote says, the ability to clearly and objectively see yourself and everything that makes you who you are. All right. So let's go to the whiteboard for a minute. Let's break it down. This is where I get your feedback. All right. So I'll read it again. Self-awareness, the ability to clearly and objectively see yourself and everything that makes you who you are. Let me do something real quick. Can I do it from here? I just want to see something real quick. All right. So here's the question. Are you the way you are? Why are you the way you are? You can, if you're on TikTok or Facebook or whatever, you can just, put something in the message. If you're on TikTok, you want to come on video, let me know. I'll bring you on so you can get some feedback. But Jamar, since you're on live, how would you answer that question? Why are you the way you are? And I'm not talking about the better parts of who you are that don't really need a lot of improvement. I'm talking about the parts of you not necessarily so happy with. happy about? Why are you that way? How would you respond to that? If you are talking, you on mute. And I share my story last time. Uh, I won't beat you guys in the head with it, but I always say that relationships, especially the long-term relationships, expose our flaws. It exposes our weaknesses. And I told this story about my wife, my prior wife at the time, rebuking me and inquiring about why I am the way I am. And what she was talking about specifically is how cold I could be. Cold in the sense of just going quiet, going dark, going distant, not talking at all. And I was able to do my self work once that relationship ended. And I asked myself that question when I looked in the mirror: why are you are? Prior to that, my response was, "This is just the way I am." But really, listen to how empty that sounds. Someone's asking you, who really loves you and cares about you, why are you the way you are? Because they care about you, they study you. There's a part of your personality, character that they don't understand. There's something that you're lacking, that they're exposing. And instead of me at the time being mature enough to really ponder on that question and to come up with a logical and rational answer, I got to come to my emotions. And I said, this is just how I am. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. Don't rush me. Don't force it. And I explained to you guys last week how unknowingly that was emotionally abusive to her. She was the victim, not me. You'll meet some people in life, and I'm shining a light on who I used to be, who they directly or indirectly always want to be the victim. They will victimize you, and then when you respond, they want to become the victim as if your response was somehow offensive to them when you are the one that offended them. In this case, it was me by my absence. Shout out to the Invisible Marriage. On sale now in Amazon and Kindle. But it talks about how you can be in the marriage physically, but not in the marriage spiritually and psychologically and emotionally. So she was the victim, not me. But because I was emotionally unavailable and emotionally immature, I distanced myself. I became quiet. And I didn't know how to answer that question. Why are you the way you are? But when I did my self work, I discovered that it was linked to my mom's, bless her heart, her consistent form of discipline with me, which was, hey, go to your room, right? And having taken everything out of my room, it forced me to learn how to manage my emotions in isolation. So I told the story last week of how I grew up not knowing this until it was exposed in my relationship. Too immature to answer the question, too caught up in my emotions. And after the relationship dissolved, they recognized the fact that wasn't, and what I needed to do to fix it. So the question is, Brother Eric, the question is, Brother Marvin, why are you are? And Jamal, if it's better, I could bring you on. That's more helpful. I don't know if you were. I'll click him back. I don't know if you having a problem with your device. There you go, brother.
What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up?
Man, I don't know what's going on with the screen. I can't. I kept saying stuff. You could hear me, so I don't know. It must be mine. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
That's all right, brother. You on now, champion? Yeah. So how would you answer that question? You are.
Life, right? Different experiences in life. Conscious and unconscious habits that need to be broken, especially unconscious ones. Story the story you tell yourself, I tell myself.
Nice. Okay.
Stay in a certain mind state or position.
Okay. Dope. All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of things play a part in that.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an article on Psychology Today by Dr. Paul, and there's a couple things that he mentions that are related to what you mentioned. I listed these not in any particular order, but he said early childhood learning. Early childhood learning through interactions with and the environment. He also social learning, which is a part of learning in the environment. And then he does choices, the choices that we make. That plays a part in why we are the way we are, right? I would argue that the choices that we make are a byproduct and summation of all of our learned behaviors, experiences, and things of that nature. So I thought it was real interesting. But the bottom line is we all have to wrestle with this at certain points of our lives. You have to be able to ask your question and to become self-aware. You have to be willing to answer the question why you are the way you are. And if you don't know, then that's what coaching is for. We want to coach you, whatever thoughts you're having, whatever feelings you're having, whatever your self-talk is, so we can help you to figure out the answer question. Because until you can really answer that question, I'll say this again a different way, aren't fully self-aware. Does that make sense? So there's another article that I may reference later, depending on how much we have remaining. I cannot pronounce this doctor's name. It is a female. I believe she pronounces her first name Ajiran. I won't try the last name. Article: People who hurt us can be unintentional teachers of growth. People who hurt us can be unintentional teachers of growth. What do you think about that, Jamal?
That's for sure. That's 100%. I always say lessons.
Yeah.
everybody you meet. It's saying everybody you meet knows something that you don't.
Yeah.
Everybody come in your life, reflection, they'll teach you something.
Yeah.
You see it.
Sure.
Sure.
Something about that hurt, man. Something about that hurt. One or two things can happen. You can learn from it, or you cannot learn it. And as a result of not learning, you to re-experience it over and over and over again. It could be within the same relationship dynamic, or it can be a different relationship dynamic. But we can allow it to be a teacher. Sure.
You see, and lessons repeated to is learned.
There we go. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's move on, man. I want to get, that was our opener. Get into this article. We started it last week on self-awareness. And now we're going to go to part 2 of the article. And I will send this to you if I remember. You remind me. All right, we're actually on point number 6. Now, this article is by Dr. Tiki Davis, and it is titled, "What is Self-Awareness and How Do You Get It? 11 Ways to Achieve Greater Self-Awareness." And we're on point number 6. All right, so let's check this out. I like this article. Point number 6, self-awareness is connected to self-esteem. Self-awareness is connected to self-esteem. Very often, the opinion we hold of ourselves is based on what others think, or more correctly, on what we think others think about us. If we were criticized often as children, we may develop a case of low self-esteem and sensitivity to rejection as a result. On the other hand, if we were praised as prince or princess, we are likely to develop high self-esteem, whether deserved or not. So much of our beliefs are buried in the subconscious, where they can do irreparable harm if not examined and recalibrated to more correctly reflect who we really are. We owe it to ourselves to become more self-aware of the thoughts and beliefs within. The subconscious holds these ideas and beliefs to be true. So if not examined, we could become a mere sponge for the societal popular mindsets and lose much of our uniqueness. Self-awareness can improve our self-esteem. Why? Because we will know who we are and what we believe, which empowers us to move forward through life with a strong rudder to guide us along our chosen path. Self-awareness is connected to self-esteem. Is there anything in that section of the article that stands out to you specifically? If not, I'm going to go ahead and move on to point number 7.
How you think about yourself, that is everything.
Yeah.
How you speak to yourself, how you think about yourself, that's everything.
Yeah.
That starts there.
Yeah, for sure. And our parents could either, as the article reads, I'll put it in my own words. They can either help us to build on something solid, or they can destroy us with their words. I have a client right now who he told me on Tuesday that his mother, to this day, and he's an adult, embarrasses him in public. And one client recalls, I'm talking about a different client now, her mother and her brother talk about her a lot and laugh at her. And she's an adult. So we have to be really careful as parents how we create the foundation for our children so that they do have good self-esteem, which creates better self-awareness in the long run. Because if we don't affirm our kids, then they'll be affirmed in the wrong way, in the wrong sense, by their peers, people in school, and things of that nature. And it's probably not going to end well. So we got to make sure we step it up as parents, make sure we affirm our kids and provide them with a strong foundation. And I will also mention, Jamar, check this out. I can't stress this enough. I know we're talking about self-awareness. We're talking about self overall and our relationship with ourselves. We're talking about self-awareness being connected to self-esteem, but guess what's connected to self-esteem? Good hygiene practices. Hygiene is key. And if I have youth or families that I'm working with, I push hygiene. Making sure that they brush their teeth twice a day, making sure that they floss, making sure that their hair is groomed and neat, making sure that they're bathing, making sure that they brush their teeth, if I didn't say that already. Making sure that their skin is lotioned up. You know, I give each kid an opportunity to evaluate themselves on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being excellent, what their hygiene numbers are. And then I take those numbers and I ask mom and dad, whether they agree on what those numbers are. And if they don't, then we come up with a game plan so that those numbers will be better on our next encounter. Hygiene is important. Listen, we all know this. If your breath not right, the kids at school will tell you, right? So we got to make sure that we love our kids enough. If something is not right and something is off, you know, if they not, we need to, I often say love holds people accountable. We got to make sure that we are our kids' number one fans as it pertains to everything, but especially hygiene. I tell my kids right now, if your socks got a hole in it, throw it away. Your clothes got a hole in it, throw it away. Let's get something new. If you look good and you smell good, you'll feel good. Does that make sense? So we got to push hygiene because good hygiene practices impact good self-esteem. And if you have good self-esteem, the chances are you'll have good self-awareness. So hygiene, please make sure you are pushing hygiene to your children, good hygiene practices. If you need help, reach out to us. You know, we'll help you to push that narrative. And most importantly, Jamar, us as parents should be modeling good hygiene practices. We're not doing that, and we're telling them to have good hygiene, then we're hypocrites. So that's really important. Any feedback on that before I move on?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You walk around here smelling.
Yeah, man. Shoot. It's important, man. You look good. You smell good, you'll feel good. All right. Number 7, self-awareness can help you look at yourself objectively, not subjectively, objectively. All right. Humans tend to be critical beings, whether self-critical or hard on others, and sometimes both. By being ourselves up, by beating ourselves up, rather, we serve no one and harm our well-being. And since no one is perfect, why should we expect ourselves to be? So learn to cut through the hype and become more objective, especially about yourself. Yes, there will always be areas where we can improve, but that won't happen if we refuse to take the extra time to develop self-awareness. When you are alone with your thoughts, there's no reason to take sides. Simply be willing to evaluate yourself as objectively as possible. Be sure not to gloss over what you rather not see, but rather mind the subconscious for its opinions and correct the mindsets that are not compatible with your values. Okay? You can do this by being completely honest with yourself. And when you find something that is out of sync, examine that position, remove what isn't personally compatible, and insert a better value or phrase to bring the idea in alignment with your core values. Do it like you are a teacher correcting a student, not with disdain, but with understanding and compassion. For an extra boost, turn the rephrased concept into a positive affirmation and repeat it to yourself as often as necessary to affect the desired change within. I will say this, that my brother from the same mother has been consistently really good with positive affirmations. It is very key. And listen, what's not cool is to tell yourself a lie either. So when you affirm yourself, make sure you are speaking truth and life and light to yourself. Because truth, light, and light all align. So don't affirm yourself if you're not telling yourself the truth. Affirm yourself on the truth, because truth and speaking life and light is all one and the same. How does that sound, good brother?
You say the truth will set you free, right?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
You don't like hearing the truth.
Yeah, man. And I'll even add that. I'll add something to that. Truth, light, life, and love. They are all hands in the same glove. If you're not telling yourself the truth, that's not self-love. That's self-destruction. And it's black and white. You either love yourself or you don't love yourself. All right. Number 8, I think this is another one that you are big on. Journaling is a good way to become more self-aware. By writing your thoughts or stream of consciousness ideas, you begin opening up to those vulnerable places within. Pardon me. It is here that the mother lode of self-awareness dwells. Journaling isn't everybody's cup of tea, but if you like to write, try it out. Writing sometimes reveals what contemplation does not. So this method of self-reflection may assist you in expanding your self-awareness. Telling your story releases your woes on paper, dreaming up your fantasy situation. These are ways your subconscious can speak to you, revealing what's really the matter. Let your mind be free and marvel at what it may reveal about you and some of your buried wounds that are crying out for healing. Work with some of these ideas to explore what's behind them with the intention of knowing yourself more intimately. So, journaling is a good way to become more self aware. And to all my spoken word artists out there, salute. Poetry is another one. If you are a writer, uh, poetry is another good one. So, journaling for you, Jamal, when did you start journaling about?
I need to do it more. Seriously, I would say I was always told journal.
Yeah.
You know, don't get in my way, don't journal. And when I finally did it, it was like, man, I felt good. I still battle with it though. I still don't journal as much as I should.
Okay.
When I started like seriously doing it, like last year,
Okay.
with years of saying I should be doing it, but it helped.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I've been trying to do is I'm not even trying to do is the things that come up that I don't want to do, like that subconscious, like that little piece, like I do this later. I make sure I do those.
Okay.
Do the things you don't want to do.
Gotcha. That's
And
helpful.
I think that'll lead to more self-awareness because it's like your mind or the ego has some ways of playing games with you, and you know.
Yeah.
Moji said you can't beat the mind by being the mind.
I love
it.
I love it.
Try not to negotiate with it. You would never beat the mind. The mind will tell you something like, get up and you be like, you know what, I'm just do that. Let me do it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then when you do it later, yourself be like, damn, you should have did that earlier. I'm like,
Yeah.
you would never beat the mind. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Certain things you don't want to do. So for journaling, it's right.
Yeah.
It ain't gotta be it's right.
Yeah.
Like write the get a book, write whatever comes to you.
Absolutely.
Don't hold it back and think about it, and it's right.
And let me add to that, man. That's really good feedback. I'll tell a story real quick about myself, but also about my wife. Shout out to my wife. That's actually how she began to write her first book, her poetic novel. And she has she has explains that she has this notepad and she called it Scribble Scrabble. So she would literally just write whatever came to her mind during those seasons of domestic violence that she experienced in the past. And that led to her, turning it into poetry, and that led for her to take the collective of poems and create a book from it. So I agree with you. Sometimes we gotta grab the pen and we just gotta start writing. And don't worry about the structure. We just write whatever thought comes to mind. We just write it all down. So that came to mind for me as you were saying that. For me, um, when I broke free from, you know, that season of life of distancing myself and being quiet and being emotionally abusive to the people that I love through my silence, at times, if I was triggered by something and I found myself wanting to isolate, that was the time when I started writing in my journal. Um, for me, I tend to be a little more structured. So I would start off by writing, how did I get here? Right? And then I write out, like if I was writing an incident report, I would literally write out in bullets. This happened first. After this happened, this happened, that happened, and that happened in chronology. I would write it out, and then I would explore what my thoughts were in each phase after everything happened. All right, when this happened, this is how I felt. This is what I was thinking. This is what I told myself. This is what I believe. And I found myself spending a whole lot of time with myself, writing those things out. And then at the end, it will always be about reconciliation. So, all right, so now how can I take this writing, translate it into my own words without divulging everything, apologize to whoever I offended, and get right back in line? So, journaling for me has been very powerful and very impactful for my overall spiritual and psychological growth. So I'm all for that, man. I'm all for that. So it's definitely needed. It's good medicine, man. Good medicine. All right. A couple more points. Number 9. It says feedback from others can help you to be more self-aware. Since we are our own best audience, we may miss something in our self-appraisal. That's where the objectivity of others can be most helpful in self-assessment. If you have the courage, ask a friend or acquaintance their opinion of you, or ask about how you managed some project you worked on together, or how you handled yourself in some quirky situation. Constructive criticism is best, of course, but try to be resilient and willing to hear what they have to say. Communication in relationships is extremely important, but you must be open to listening to each other, even when what is said imperfectly or is hard to hear. When some aspect of self is revealed that could use some additional refinement, be willing to look behind the obvious to its underlying secret or wound. When you find something that needs some retweaking, make a mental or written note to yourself to look at it later when you have some time alone for self-care. Boy, this is a big one. Let me continue. If our further examination, criticism does not appear to be true, consider if they are projecting onto you what they themselves are guilty of or struggle with. Perhaps that person is holding a grudge. If so, practice listening to what they have to say, and rather than responding defensively, try to get to the bottom of the issue so you can assure a healthy friendship. Man, we have talked about this a lot. You and I. And I remember in coaching, emphatically, whether it was coaching or rather we were just having a check-in as brothers, I can remember you saying that you were with the people you love, having these conversations, and what you were saying to them was hard for them to receive. Even though your intention was right, what I remember you saying is, after we sifted some of the weeds, that sometimes the way you were saying it to them, you expected them to look beyond the way you were saying it and to receive what you were saying. And you and you can expound on this a little more. I'm just giving you what my thoughts were, what I came away with it doing that after that conversation was your heart was in the right place. You meant well. You was talking to the people that you love. But the way you were saying it, they weren't able to sift through the tone to get the message. So I think you were saying I have to work on the way I deliver it to them because it didn't land well. But I want you to expound on that a little more. Talk to me about, and I know we kind of flipped it. The focus is on us and how we receive. If we're going to get feedback from others, we have to make sure that we can receive what's being said to us without taking offense. So, talk to me about that experience when you are providing feedback to someone else that you love because you see something that they don't see. How was that experience for you in times past? Or vice versa?
As you know, before it was always depend on the person, right? But before, like the conversation we had, I realized everybody, nobody see what you see, even if they see it. So I had to realize, like, even with the tone thing, right? My delivery. Even though I know I'm like, I got my little ways. I'm like, I used to be like, it's BS, like my delivery. But you can watch this. You can watch this show of them calling each other a big hoe and this that. You can watch this show. But if I say eat an apple and my tone is a little high, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I realize that that's what it is. That's what we're dealing with. Everybody ain't going to do it how I do it. So I try to work on my tone. Even with that, it's sometimes don't get it is. You still won't get that. People only listen to what they understand. So it's like you're only gonna if you're not in that space, to be able to check yourself and see yourself. It's still gonna take no matter how I say it or what I say. You still gonna take it and flip it to however narrative you're gonna flip it to.
Yeah.
I just learned for me it's like still just have grace. Speak. I had no problem with taking it to like you can say whatever you need to say, however you want to say to me. I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna take it in as I'm gonna listen to the message. I don't really,
Yeah.
Everybody ain't that. So I have to understand that. So that's like now I'm at the state now, like I said, I try to be more, have more grace.
Yeah.
When I'm speaking to certain people, have more grace and just plant the seed.
Yeah.
At one point, I was planting and trying to water it into night. Now I just plant the seed. I just plant it. Seed is planted. Everybody, every tree, every flower, everything growing at own pace, at own time. Some need more water, some need more sun.
Mm-hmm.
All I can do is plant seed, and that's it.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm doing everything I need to do on my end. So when if they do come back around, and I have all the information and they want to speak to me, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they remember, like, all right, he was graceful, whatever. Instead of like, hey, even a sour taste of people about my being. Sometimes my passion can come off a little, way too much for some people.
Yeah.
But not to dumb myself down, but just have a little more, little more grace and read who I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Read the room. Like, all right.
Yeah. And I will add to that, if I take this approach, point number 9, feedback from others can help you to be more self-aware. It is my job. If I'm getting feedback from you, it is my job to convey to you that, or getting back to your point of understanding, people listen to what they understand. It is my job as the person seeking feedback to become more self-aware, to let you know what kind of message conveyed is easy for me to receive, so that you know how to convey the message. It is my job to do that so that I can hear you. Because you could come across or you could come off strong in your tone toward me as the person seeking feedback to become more self-aware. And I can get caught up in the tone and not the message. So what I have to do is to be self-aware enough to know what kind of tone would allow me to hear what you have to say. And then I have to communicate that to you. Otherwise, you don't know. I have to say to you, look, man, Jamal, look, this is a sensitive topic for me, man. It's really touchy, but I want to be better. What is it that you see in me that I keep hitting my head up against this wall? And when you give me the feedback, can you sprinkle some love on it? The good book says, speak the truth in love. Can you, even though you're passionate about it, can you give it to me in a loving tone, the way you say it? I am responsible for that, for letting you know what kind of message I can receive so I can be better. But if I don't communicate that to you, you just give me the feedback in a way that you probably want it yourself. Because people teach you what they want for themselves, but it's my job to teach you what I need for myself. Does that make sense? So it's all received. So, yeah, that's a big one, man. That's a big one. There are a couple more points. I'll just read the points real quick, and then next week we'll go into another subsection. Point number 10, self-awareness can help you know your strengths and weaknesses. And the article concludes with point 11, self-awareness can help you set intentions. All right. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, or thoughts about anything that we covered today?
Another good one,
Yeah, thank you, good brother. Appreciate it, man. All right, so we're going to pick up next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Appreciate you guys checking in. If not, look, you can jump on here, and like I said, I'll send you the article. Whatever makes it easy, man. I had Bible study on Sunday, and the people that I sent the link to at that time was able to get on and interact. So I don't know, but it's all good, bro. You hit. All right, couple quick salutes before we jump off. Eric, salute. Rolando, salute. Brian Mars, salute. Joey, salute. Thank you guys for checking in. Jess, salute. JP, salute. Tell the Truth, salute. Anthony Brown, salute. Sally, salute. Minister Candace, salute. Thank you guys for joining in. I appreciate you. Sister Carol, salute. Margaret, salute. Thank you all for joining in, even if it was for a little bit of time. Theo, salute. J. Mix, salute. Rose. Jameson Rose, salute. All right. Eric Thomas, salute. Brittany, salute. Patricia, salute. All right, we'll see you guys next time. And have a great rest of the week on purpose. All right, Jamal, I'll check in with you. All right, peace. All right, guys. See you guys next week. And again, I'll play the replay tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. All right, peace.